guys, welcome to the episode 4 of the Better Habits podcast. I couldn't believe it. I am so happy. We're now on the episode 4 of our podcast. In the previous episode, episode 3, we talked about stress management. I explained to you guys why stress management is crucial for a healthy life. And I also explained to you how stress can damage both your mental and your physical health. Okay? And then I thought, it's not enough to explain why it is important, but I think you guys also deserve to know some stress management techniques to help you get started. So for today's episode, I'm only going to tell you one stress management technique because despite the fact that I might overwhelm you with so many options, this stress management technique, this one stress management technique that I'm going to share with you is actually the most effective one. So I'm going to have to start with that. So there are tons of stress management techniques out there, trust me. So breathing exercises, playing an instrument, doing something you love, spending time with nature, sharing your emotions with someone, journaling, exercising, and so much more. Trust me, so much more. So personally, my stress management techniques that I do are journaling. I like to meditate and also any form of physical activity. So I really, really love to walk, and also I go to the gym. So that's a stress management technique for me. So you can also do these techniques, like the techniques that I mentioned, if you want to explore and see what works for you. So all of us are going to have different stress management techniques, okay? So there are techniques that might work for me that I love, but wouldn't work for you because you don't like it. So there are also techniques that you will love that I won't. So you have to kind of like explore and see what works. Now, there's my favorite technique of all time and the most effective one, okay? Even if I don't do the other ones I mentioned, if I do this one thing, this one specific thing, I can guarantee myself, and you guys, of course, that you will be able to manage stress. Now, it doesn't mean that when you do this technique, you will completely like remove stress from your body and your mind. No, it's for you to manage stress, okay? And as surprising as it may sound, this technique, I don't know why I'm laughing, but this technique is actually having a me time. Okay, me time. I know you guys have heard of me time. So me time is spending time on your own. Now, when we are under stress, it's common for us to go to someone, right? Open up, rant, cry, or get mad, drink with them, or do an activity and whatnot, right? I actually do believe that this can help manage stress. So this is actually one stress management technique. Expressing your emotions to someone, sharing your thoughts with someone can actually help you at least take some weight off your shoulders. But this kind of technique, you guys, gives you only a short-term benefit. It may help you get your mind off of things for a while, but it doesn't really help you manage, okay? It doesn't really help you manage stress in total and in the long run. So let's say you've been feeling stressed lately, and then you meet with someone, you do some fun activity, you guys went out and, you drank, and when it's over, and it's time to sign for you to go home, you're back with the reality that you're actually not okay, that the situation is not okay, that everything is falling apart. Now that is actually, I think that can increase the feeling of stress, right? So another one would be you sharing your situation with someone and they will give you some advice. Of course, that is so common for us to do and for people to do to us, right? So we do listen to their suggestions. We do listen while they are talking. And they tell us like how to deal with a situation, okay? But at the end of the day, my question is, do we do them? I'm at least like 95% sure that we just listen while they're talking, while they're giving us like some advice, but we don't do it. We don't follow it. Because again, at the end of the day, I am sure that you will still follow your instinct or your heart or your mind, whatever that is. So you will still have your own plan for dealing with stress. And it goes back to you realizing that when it comes to stress and addressing it, all you really have that truly understands you, your situation, and knows what's best for you is yourself. Again, there's nothing wrong with sharing with other people. Again, it only offers a short-term benefit. Now, a me time, on the other hand, provides you a long-term solution for dealing with stress. Number one, taking too much time, taking too much care of yourself, like pampering yourself, going to the mall, getting like a mani-pedi, going to the spa, getting a massage. Or number two, you can spend so many days alone that leads you to overthink and got you stressed even more. Now, these are not the me time that I'm talking about, you guys. The me time that I'm referring to is the one in the middle between number one and number two, between taking too much care of yourself and overthinking. Okay? So, this me time that I am talking about is you spending time on your own, detaching yourself from your thoughts and your emotions and your situation, and looking at them in a third person point of view. Okay, so this me time isn't about distraction and thinking too much. Okay, this me time with the third person POV should allow you to process your situation, why it's happening, what actions you can do, and not just that, but this me time should allow you to accept the situation, should allow you to accept that you are stressed. Okay, so you won't be able to do this with number one if you're taking too much care of yourself. Like for example, you're getting a massage, you don't actually like have the time to think because that is a distraction. It doesn't give you the time to really process. You're not really there to process your thoughts and your emotions. And same goes to number two, when you're thinking too much, you're not processing the situation, you're not evaluating the situation. You're just basically thinking too much. Okay. So this me time that I'm referring to is actually calm and relaxing. Okay. And during this time, when you truly have this me time for stress management, this is the time when you are able to ask so many questions, but at the same time, you also give yourself the answers. And you won't be able to do that when you are distracted and when you are thinking too much, right? So this me time, you might ask like, how do you do this? How do you do this me time? What is the proper way to do this me time? This me time is actually done by doing nothing at all. Doing the least activity. Okay? Like lying in bed, taking a walk, or staring blankly at something. Personally, I like to take a walk. That is like my favorite thing to do to manage stress. So how does this kind of alone time give you the long-term solution for managing stress? Now, you can avoid the fight or flight response. You can avoid panic, okay? And I'm telling you guys, when you don't have like a long-term solution for stress, your body will always be in fight or flight. What happens when your body is always in fight or flight? So it can increase anxiety, it can affect you again physiologically. It can disrupt your sleep, your eating pattern, your blood flow, etc. So this me time is a long-term solution for stress because it is a conscious effort, like to pause or take time to relax before you act on something. And fight or flight is actually the other way around. when you're in fight or flight mode, you actually don't take the time to think before you act because because your body is in panic. You immediately, this is actually the fight or flight response is a quick response. And that is actually the nature of the human body. But again, we can lessen our fight or flight response when we are under stress. Okay? So instead of fighting the situation or trying to run from it, fight or flight, you know how to stay there. You know, when you do your me time, you know how to stay there, face the freaking challenge, be logical, and properly handle your emotions and your mind. So wherever you go and whatever you do, whether you're alone or you're with someone, whether you are out or whether you're home, your body and your mind remain the same, which is calm and relaxed. Now, my advice to you is to have frequent me times, because that is a practice for your mind and your body to be, again, calm and relaxed in times of stress. So the next time you find yourself like doing nothing at all, or when you know that you have a lot of time, like you got nothing else to do, when you have a lot of free time, then take advantage of it. Okay? Use it for your me time. I don't know, stare blankly at something. And then start to process your thoughts. So I'm just like super curious. When was the last time you genuinely asked yourself how you're doing? So that is it for today. Thank you so much. I hope that you learned something from this podcast. If you like this podcast, please don't hesitate to tag me on Instagram at Habits by Justine. Thank you so much.